I don't know if you know or not, but any time that a person was crucified, that's what his charge was. So if you were a murderer, they would put that on top of your crucifix so when the people walk by, they would know why this person was being crucified, right? And that's why they had on top of Jesus, his thing says, INRI, I-N-R-I. How many of you guys ever thought, what does that mean? You know, growing up, you see that all over the crucifix. But even on the empty crosses, that's not even there neither, right? The cross has been just stripped to nothing. But anyway, the reason why that inscription was up there, because that was the charge, right? He came and he said, I am the King of the Jews, right? And that's what Pilate put. You know, this is the King of the Jews. So that was his description, and all of them had it. So it was written, it says here, read this description because the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city. And it is written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. So the chief priests of the Jews said to Pilate, do not write the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am the King of the Jews. Pilate answered, what I have written, I have written. So the thing is, why the three languages? What difference does it make? It makes a big difference because when the statement was that he's the King of the Jews, it went to all people, right? That's why it didn't matter, you know, like I said, you know, this is the King of the Jews. Jesus Christ proclaimed that he was the King of Kings and Lord of Lords for all people, right? That's why the three different languages, so all can read that this was the King of the Jews. Now verse 23 it says, when the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his clothes and divided them into 4 shares, a share for each soldier. They also took his tunic, but the tunic was seamless, woven in one piece from the top to the bottom. So they said to one another, let's not tear it, but cast lots to see whose it will be, in order that the passage of Scripture might be fulfilled, that says, they divided my garments among them, and for my vesture they cast lots. You know, when they talk about this one seamless tunic, it's related to everything that he's always said. One Lord, one faith, one church, one baptism, and that's what that tunic represented, just oneness. No? So now, a couple of things I want to go over. So Jesus Christ, you got to remember that when they brought him out, he sat on the judge's bench, right? And they kept saying, crucify him, right? So when a person looks now at this day and age on a crucifix, that's exactly what they're supposed to see, is what Jesus Christ did for each and every one of us. Now, if you went to a little boy, or if you went to a little girl, and you showed him an empty cross, and you said, you know, at one time there was this person, they put him on the cross, will that little boy or little girl get the picture of what you're trying to teach them? On an empty cross? So you pull out a crucifix and you start teaching that child about this person, you can see the whole difference that a person is going to make, right? And it's not only to a child, but even to a man or even to a woman, no? That crucifix, when you show that body, so let me ask you guys something. If you had a crucifix that had the disfigured Jesus, the blood dripping, do you think that little boy or girl would be afraid to touch it? It would be frightening to them, right? It would be frightening to almost anybody who had not seen it before to see this man hanging on top of this cross, bleeding from all over, you know, drenched in blood, hair and blood, you know, the crown still stuck in his head, and so on and so forth. That's why it's so very important for all of us. I keep bringing up this crucifix over and over and over, because even these soldiers, nobody gave it any thought. Nobody thought about it. You know, and I was thinking, remember when people were walking by the crucifix and they saw Jesus hanging there, and someone said, well, he saved others, how come he don't save himself? You guys remember that, right? So don't you find it so weird that they believed that he saved others, but they wouldn't believe in him? Like he says, he saved others, but let him save himself. So they truly believed in the miracles that he did, but they would not believe in this person himself. No? So I'm going to fast forward and I'm going to go to verse 31. 31 says, "Now since it was preparation day, in order that the bodies might not remain on the cross on the Sabbath, for the Sabbath day of the week was a solemn one, the Jews asked Pilate that their legs be broken and they be taken down. So the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and the other one who was crucified with Jesus. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. But one soldier thrust his lance into his side, and immediately blood and water flowed. An eyewitness has testified, and his testimony is true. He knows that he is speaking the truth, so that you also may come to believe. For this happened that the scripture passage might be fulfilled. Not a bone of it will be broken." And again, another passage says, "They will look upon him who they have pierced." So, how many of you guys have ever thought about that stab? That soldier, stabbed Jesus on the side. What was the purpose of him doing that?
To make sure he was dead.
And how were they going to make sure he was dead? So that soldier had to stick that lance so far into him that it would pierce his heart, right? That's exactly what Steve said. They had to make sure he was dead. He wasn't just going to go and just stick him and see if he was going to move, right? And so how big was that side? Remember what Thomas, doubting Thomas? "Unless I see him and stick my hand in his side, not my pinky, not my fingers, unless I see him and stick my hand in his side, I'm not going to believe." Jesus Christ appears and he goes, "Thomas, come and stick your hand in my side." So can you imagine a person's hand going in? So a lot of people don't think about it. They don't think about, now we're talking about the scourging, you're talking about the whipping, you're talking about the slugging, you're talking about the thorns, and now even on the cross, they made sure that lance went all the way to pierce his heart to make sure he was dead. Big enough for a person to put their hand in it. Let's go to verse 38. "After this, Joseph of Arimathea, secretly a disciple of Jesus for fear of the Jews, asked Pilate if he could remove the body of Jesus. And Pilate permitted it, so he came and took his body. Nicodemus, the one who had first come to him at night, also came bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, weighing about 100 pounds. They took the body of Jesus and bound it with burial cloths along with the spices according to the Jewish burial custom. Now in the place where he had been crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had yet been buried. So they laid Jesus there because of the Jewish preparation day, for the tomb was close by." I want to touch on just a couple of things. When a person would die, they would embalm them right away, right? Because if not, the flesh would start reeking and so on and so forth. If you see how perfect this is, whenever, you got to remember the whole story brings us that they were all getting prepared for the feast, right? They were all for the Passover. So they were all getting prepared. So they had to break the legs of the two guys. They had to make sure that Jesus was dead. Why? Because they had to get on with the Passover, right? They could not have this happening, during the Passover. So instead of them embalming Jesus and the other Jesus, because he had died, they put him in this tomb, right? Because they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't do no embalming, anything, because no work, nothing could be done for that Passover, right? So Jesus Christ lays in the tomb, and it just comes to perfection that's the reason why they put him in there, didn't embalm him, because the scripture had to be fulfilled that he would be in the tomb for 3 days and then rise from the dead, right? No embalming, no nothing. So when you actually look at the whole picture, it comes together almost perfect. Now, I'm going to just share a couple more things regarding this John chapter 19 and how important that I keep expressing the crucifix is something that humanity in Christianity want to have just a bare cross, because they don't want to be like the church. They don't want to have anything tied to the church or crucifixes and so on and so forth. Dad, do you want to say something?
Yeah, and in 1 Corinthians chapter 2. You can write that down. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 1 and following. St. Paul is writing, and it's in the heading says, Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And St. Paul writes, when I came to you, brethren, I did not proclaim to you the mystery of God with words of eloquence or wisdom, for I resolved that while I was with you, I would know nothing except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. So his whole gospel was the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus, but it's not the empty cross.
Amen. And that's what he's teaching the people that he's talking to, the people he's preaching to, you know? And that's what is so important, you guys. It's so important. I made notes, as I'm going through this teaching, I'm making notes. I'm saying people talk about the Bible all the time. Oh, this is my sword. This is my word. This is this, that. The whole world should be walking around showing people the crucifix, showing the world how the Lord suffered for each and every one of us and how we need to suffer. The world should go around telling all the people the whole entire story of Jesus. Not telling people to get rid of their crucifixes, not telling people to get rid of their statues, not passing out pictures of Jesus Christ, with the clean beard and the combed hair. You know, people in reality need to show and teach Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ crucified, right? Because it's so important that you and I, that when you're driving down the road and you have this bare cross hanging from your river mirror or around your neck, is to always remember that Jesus Christ did, from the time that He was an infant, He did so many things for each and every one of us, and it was never bare. It was never that bare cross. It was never the bare teachings. Everything that He did, everything that He said, everything He taught, He showed each and every one of us how picture perfect it needed to be for everybody. So as we continue going through John chapter 20, just keep in mind that the next time that you think about Jesus, the next time that you hear about Jesus, put down this reflection in your minds and your hearts about what He really done for every single one of us. You know, what He's done for our kids, our grandkids, our moms, our dads, our grandmas, and our grandpas. Jesus Christ came down, as an infant through the whole journey of 33 years, and toward the end of it, He didn't want anybody to erase this. So that visual that all those people had that day when they walked by and they saw Jesus Christ crucified and hanging over with His head and dripping all that blood and everything else that was coming from Him, that's the visual that we need to remember. Because if He did that for every single one of us, every intimate blow, every slug or punch or strike or whatever that He took all that for each and every one of us. He didn't take it just to show how tough He was or what He could handle and what He could. He did it to show all of us, not only His love for us, but also to show us that we are going to go through trials and tribulations. We're not just going to go through life, an easy life, and live here and go away. He's giving us, He's saying, what they have done to me, be prepared because they will do for you. So we live in a world right now where they can't whip us or beat us yet. That's the world that we live in right now. But in the future, we don't know how things are going to be. But we have to remember that right now, what we see, what we hear that the Lord has done for every one of us, we have to teach our kids that. We have to teach our grandkids that. We have to teach our spouses that. We have to teach ourselves that Jesus Christ did not just come floating on a cloud and floated back up and went back to sit at the right hand of the Father. It's very important for all of us to see it, because as we go to John chapter 20, it gets even more deep and personal, because at 21, Jesus Christ is not here anymore. So we need to see what He did for us, how He instructed us, how He wanted us to follow Him. And then we have to keep sharing that with every single person that we come across. So that's what I wanted to close with tonight on this John chapter 19. And like I've always said, go back and read. If you can go back to John chapter 1 and read all the way back up to 19, and when we come back at 20, you can actually put the whole story back in your minds. Because it's very, very important for all of us to remember that there was more that Jesus Christ did that a lot of times we don't even think about it. You know, we just went through the Christmas season. We just went through all this, all the traditions and presents and so on and so forth. I don't think that there was probably, well, and I can stand corrected, but I would hope that some of the families sat down and talked to each other about what Jesus Christ did. What the whole reason why we were gathering, what the whole reason why, you know, it's even called Christmas and so on and so forth. So I'm going to close with that. Any thoughts or any questions?